Let's pull up this clip. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new president. It's Obama. or
He's back.
Or it might be Kamala. So Joe Biden himself has repeatedly said Kamala's the president. And now Karine Jean-Pierre says Obama's the president. You ready for this one?
Okay, so today, as you all saw just an hour or so ago, President Obama announced that, President Biden. Whoa! That is news.
Okay, wait, one more time, one more time.
So today,
time.
as you all saw just an hour or so ago, President Obama announced that, President...
She is so bad at her job, she read from the paper she's looking at and said the wrong president's name. Or, I'm assuming, when she's reading, she read President Obama.
It's full on zealotry, man, because that guy hasn't been president for a long time.
But is she reading? Look, she's reading as she's that's the point.
Okay, so today, as you all saw just an hour or so ago, President Obama announced that...
Yeah, she's reading off a paper. She read that. Her eyes were down as she was reading that.
She's reading from a paper.
Checked out.
Wow.
I think she's checked out.
Yeah.
She's checked out.
I do. I honestly, like, she has to know.
They're all checked out.
Yes. Exactly.
Buttigieg is checked out.
Yeah. If
Man, I feel bad for Buttigieg, because like...
No, don't.
No, I feel bad for him because he's just trying to, he's trying to chill, right? He doesn't want to be transportation secretary.
That's true.
And the government knocks on his door and they're like, Pete Buttigieg? He's like, yeah. He's like washing a pan and they're like, we need you for transportation secretary. And he's like, what? He's like, your country needs you. And they put him on the helicopter and fly him to D.C. And then he's like, I'm not doing the job. And they're like, well, you are. And then he's just trying as hard as he can not to do it, but they won't fire him.
That's true. He's just like, look, man.
It's like Office
Space.
Space.
Can you fire me, man?
That's actually a really great meme. Can we do that? Pete Buttigieg as the main dude in Office Space.
Yes.
And then you get like Trump.
I've got like 7 bosses.
Yeah.
Is it legal?
So what would you say you do here? Well, I go on vacation and paternity leave, ignore natural and man-made disasters, and space out for about an hour when I am there.
If there was like a war and then bombs were blowing up roads, would Buttigieg be in charge of overseeing the reconstruction of the roads, the transportation sector? Is that all deferred to the military?
Honestly, I don't think he does anything, but yes.
He'd have some authority there for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's national. I look at it as national security. If you let the people of your country starve, die off from chemicals, that's a loss of security in the nation.
If the U.S. was being bombed, I think we'd be under martial law instantly, and the military would take over infrastructure projects.
That's true.
You wouldn't have a civilian doing it.
That's true.
They might communicate with him in some degree and have him do something. They would just
like
tell you
Biden might give him a battlefield promotion and make him lieutenant colonel.
There'd be some photo ops for sure, like have him standing there.
Is he military?
Helping someone.
Is Buttigieg military?
He was. Yeah, he's Air Force.
I got to be honest, though. I kind of feel like if the roads were to be bombed in like a figurative sense, destroyed, it would be because of the Biden administration, not in spite of. It's their policies that are going to result in this. So, they blame Donald Trump for the derailment. But Biden has been president for 2 years. It's like,
and they passed a whole infrastructure bill with $1.2 billion for the rails. And then what did they do with it?
Do you guys think that Obama's secretly pulling the strings?
I don't know.
He must be around.
Doesn't he live?
I think there's
right
a panel. I think he's on a panel that I think there's a bunch of people that are pulling the strings. They wrote about it in Time magazine. The cabal of elites, or whatever they called it.
Fortification of elections.
Yes, I think he's on.
He bought a house near the White House.
He was caught on mic saying, the only thing I would like better than a third term is to not be president again and be able to basically control this whole operation from my basement. I think he's doing it. That's my honest opinion.
It'd be funny if he's like literally in his basement with like a beard growing and he's like just dirty and disheveled and he's like rocking back and forth watching the news, and then he like takes the phone and he calls Biden and he's like, Joe, what's up with this smoke in Ohio? And Joe's like, I don't know, man. And
I think he's got an IFB straight into Biden's ear, but Biden's hard of hearing, so he's like, he just keeps saying the wrong lines, even though Obama's like, look, I am one of the most gifted orators of our time, and I'm talking directly into this dude's ear, and he still can't get it right. I feel for Obama, ultimately.
I think that Obama is involved in this now. I haven't thought that much because I haven't heard of him much, but for her to say his name like that must indicate
that was so natural.
He's around.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool, actually, if like, there's a house a block away from the White House with a secret sub-basement. And, you go in this regular house and everything looks normal, and you go downstairs and everything looks normal. And then you lift up like a chest, and underneath it is stairs that goes down into like this dark cobblestone brick castle wall, and Hillary Clinton and Obama are wearing dark cloaks, and they're like looking over this computer screen, and they're like, "Whoa!" and they're feeding information to Joe Biden and telling him what to do. I think that'd be really cool.
Sounds like a political cartoon that I'd like to write.
It's not impossible.
I know.
Basically, I believe anything at this
It
point.
would be better if like Obama is in some kind of pod with a Neuralink plugged in. And then like he's got a heads up display and he's controlling Biden. And that's why Biden's like all messy, because like when the connectivity goes out, he slurs. That explains everything.
It could be that the people like Karine have no faith in Biden, like zero. Probably a lot of people in that administration have very little to no faith in the guy. And so Obama's keeping their morale up. He's like, I got your back. If something happens to him, I will be here to lead this country, kind of thing.
Well, that's how degraded our political class is, that like, even though everyone there has clearly given up, like it's so crystal clear that they've all given up on their jobs. They're just like, we know that the whole country's falling apart, but we've been told by the business class that we're going to be taken care of because we're just going to continue to do our jobs. And then that revolving door into K Street, we're going to get our payday at the end of it. I know that's a really jaded way of looking at it, but like, tell me when you watch Karine Jean-Pierre speak that you don't just sense like she is counting the days until she gets to quit this job. Counting the days.
It's almost like they almost dog whistle his name out, like when everyone's like, okay, Biden's kind of like all their base is like, all right, Biden's starting to creep me out, and she's like, yeah, Obama, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you got my attention again. I guess, maybe it's something to subconsciously tell them that he's still involved.
I would love to be a White House press secretary, because it's like the one job you don't got to take seriously. Like you said, she's probably counting the days. Yeah, but she's phoning it in.
Yeah.
But she's still phoning it in. Like if it were me, I would probably not show up half the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when I did, I'd bring like a lounge chair and I'd have like a Switch and I'd be playing Spelunky. Or maybe I'd like set up a PlayStation and just be like, I'm going to play some Overwatch, get some quick no limit in, and
Tim, and you're like, wouldn't he?
they'd be like, oh, we have a question about the train derailment, and I'll be like, yeah, I don't know anything about it.
Like checking analytics.
I'm not the president, dude. Like, do you think that Karine Jean-Pierre knows what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
No, she has a binder that's like 18 inches thick just so she
That
can.
apparently says Obama's the president.
Yes.
I don't believe I think she just brain farted on.
That's the most real I've ever seen her. I don't watch a
her
lot of her
eyes.
stuff, but when
She's
she
looking
laughs
like-
and she's like, "Oh my gosh, what?
Yeah.
Wow!"
She said, that's news. Like,
Look at her,
yep, and
she's
here
like-
we are
she looks
talking
like,
about her.
She looks like she's being watched, and she knows it now.
Just
though.
think about how degraded of a human being you have to be to you all day for months now. She's been lying us into World War III, but the faux pas that gets her to giggle is saying Obama. Like she can just lie through her teeth about everything in Ukraine. Honestly, she probably doesn't even know. Why am I lying?
She's
to
just
myself?
reading off a paper. She's
Michael Malice needs to be press secretary. That'd be funny.
Oh,
That was the whole
yeah.
plan. Dave
I know.
Smith, Malice, come on, let's go.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't think she.
we're working on it, right?
Yeah, hell yeah, I'm working on it.
I'm open to it. I want to bring like Donald Trump together, man. At this point, I'm like, I will run as your VP. I want to sit in with the Senate and listen all day. I listen on this show. I want to listen to like these people, get to know who they are.
Yeah.
Get Malice involved, get Alex Jones involved, get you involved, get Tim involved, get all
Let's
these awesome
go.
politicians, Dave Smith involved, like everybody. It doesn't have to be Donald Trump. I don't care. I just want to do this for real and at least try and steer this mechanism so that we can turn the liberal world order into the new world order effectively with like delocalized statehood as the central backbone.
We're gonna have to
of
work on the
government.
branding because we can't call it the New World Order.
What would you put if you had Alex Jones in your cabinet? Where would you put him?
Secretary of War, Alex Jones. I don't know what the cabinets entail, how that would work. Probably as like a science advisor of some sort, or at least I would ask him to talk.
No,
About the gay frogs?
no disrespect to Malice, but I would love to see him as press secretary. My God, my God, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Oh, so fun.
We just like somebody who shows up and is just like sitting there and then points somebody and just ask, and they're like, what did the president mean when he said, and then insert Gaffe, and it'd be like, out of his mind.
This dude,
Like Joe Biden's brain doesn't work. What do you
Like,
think?
you think Joe Biden knows what's going on in Ohio, and he told me to tell you what's going on in Ohio? This is what.
Listen up,
this
Joe
is what we
Rogan.
believe right now?
He's actually just a skin suit. He's been flown in from Langley.
Oh yeah, I'd do stuff like that. That'd be fun.
Oh, hell yeah.
Be like, well, actually, Joe Biden isn't the president. It's Obama. That's right. All of the conspiracy theorists, they were right the whole time.
Please make it
Conspiracy
happen.
theorists 7.
Look, if we're
Corporate
gonna
press 0.
if we're gonna have World War III, I need some sort of pick me up like Alex Jones as
Yes.
press secretary. Man, I need it.
I'm thinking like we really do need to use modern technology to clean this oil spill or the spill up in East Ohio. Like, why? I keep waiting for someone to do something miraculous in the government. Like, okay, who's the guy that has read about graphene technology so we can stop creating, planned obsolescence of roads and rail? Like, we can build roads that last 170 years, railways that don't warp, after 40 or 70 years.
What's interesting, can a private company get involved and do this, or do they need to be like, could they come forward and say, because like we think the military is in charge of this right now, like handling this, or do we think Pete Buttigieg, like who's in charge? We don't know. We know it's the government. So can a small business or a business come out and say, hi, we specialize in cleaning this up. Can we do anything? Because nobody's come forward. And this happened, February 2nd?
Yeah, February 2nd or 3rd.
Okay, so it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, and the silence is really starting to get to me. I mean, it's been getting to me. You can pour iron dust into an oil spill water, and the oil coagulates around the iron. Then you put a magnet in, and it'll suck the oil to the magnet. You can pull it out.
That's awesome. Let me black pill the hell out of you guys right now. If there was some startup business that came up with the technology to deal with this, the reality is those businesses don't exist to a large extent because when there's a disaster like this, the government is going to turn to an industry partner, someone who's already deeply in bed with them, and they're going to give them no bid contracts to go and deal with this. They're not going to turn to the most innovative because they don't have any political gain to be made there. So until that changes, I don't know how you get any sort of ultimate fix to what we're talking about.
And that's a good point. It's almost like they wait it out and they're like, all right, the half-life of these chemicals are, I don't know what the half-life is, but they're waiting it out. And eventually it's like, okay, it's going to go away on its own. And then it's going to look like we did something to make it go away.
Tucker was talking with Ben Shapiro. I'm not sure when this was, but I saw the clip going around. And he's asked by Ben Shapiro, would you, if you were in government, stop self-driving trucks? And he goes, absolutely. I'm not going to put 10 million working class men out of a job. We're going to block this, probably under the guise of some safety regulation, but we will. And that is like, it's technically correct, but I don't know if it's going to help us in the long term. Technology is happening and will continue to happen. And so we have serious problems with automation. You can't just regulate it away. That's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. Now, I agree with him, like we don't want to put all these people out of work overnight. So there probably needs to be a transition period where you literally say, the economy will be destroyed and 10 million people will lose their jobs overnight. So we need to find a transition so that this kind of thing can happen and maybe phase it in over a long period of time or something.
That's a tough one because technology is now improving at a pace that we've never experienced before. So the natural adaptation period for humanity, for civilization, for the economy, for the workforce to adapt to these new technologies is faster than we're really capable of retraining ourselves. And I think it's only going to get harder as AI and other things start to get involved. So it sucks because as a libertarian, I never want to have the government interfere and say like, oh, we're going to have these truckers just sit there with the AI device for the next decade and then they have to go get their other jobs. It's going to be challenging.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.